When you choose to fly, do you choose SRQ or do you drive to Tampa, Orlando, or some other airport in order to save some money on airfare? Why does it often cost more to fly from the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport? ABC 7's Ray Collins set out to find out why.
When Helen and Joe Burkhart fly back and forth to their home in Rochester, they often fly out of Sarasota, but not always.
We do fly out of Tampa. It's probably half and half.
The Burkharts say they're sometimes willing to drive farther to save more money.
No, it seems like off-season we can get a pretty comparable flight. In season, it probably doubles.
But even though it seems a lot of passengers bypass Sarasota to save money elsewhere, the SRQ Airport director says the airplanes are full leaving Sarasota, so airlines can afford to keep the prices high. So prices won't come down until enough passengers say, I'm not going to pay this.
Right.
CEO Rick Piccolo says, keep in mind, airlines set the prices, not airports. And there's one other misconception that frustrates him about higher prices at SRQ.
Is you constantly hear, well, if the airport would lower its landing fees and space rent, they'd have more service because they charge more than Tampa and Fort Myers. In actuality, our rents and our landing fee are anywhere from 40 to 75% less than both those airports.
Piccolo says it all comes down to numbers.
All this is basic supply and demand economics. You have a community up in Tampa that has about 3 million people in its catchment area. We have about 1 million. You have about 1 million down in the Fort Myers area as well, but there's no other airport close to them like there is to ours. So we are basically right in the middle of all this, so we're surrounded by 5 airports. So we're in a very competitive environment.
It is competitive. In fact, look at the very different numbers for the past year. Sarasota had about 1.2 million passengers. Fort Myers had 8.5 million, and Tampa had nearly 19 million. While Sarasota was down nearly 3%, Fort Myers was up nearly 3%, and Tampa up less than 1%. Even though it is a constant challenge to compete against Tampa, Orlando, Miami, even Fort Myers and Punta Gorda, Piccolo says, make no mistake, SRQ is not in a holding pattern. And that's not all. Piccolo says he's just back from doing some speed dating. Not for himself, but for the airport to attract new airlines.
Airports from throughout the country and airlines throughout the country meet one city at a conference, and you spend a couple days there. You get appointments with different airline planners, and you get to pitch why you think they should be serving your city.
Piccolo says SRQ is doing everything from waiving operations costs for 2 years to adding up to $400,000 per airline for marketing money. He says ever since the government allowed 8 large carriers to become 4 back in 2008, now airlines that used to be losing money are making upwards of $1 billion a quarter. He says now the playing field is simply different. So now they're doing all they can to make the airport itself more pleasing for passengers.
We've just finished renewing the entire interior of the terminal and the exterior outside of the jet bridges, which is the next phase that's going to start now. We redid the entire curbside. We're adding shade parking and shade over the rental car areas. The runways and taxiways are in excellent shape. We've expanded our business holdings. The airport's debt-free. Would we like to see more air service like the rest of the community? Yes. But I have to remind the community that if you want a Tampa International Airport level of service, then they're going to have to change their mindset because we're going to need about 2 million more people here. So they better not be protesting any developments that are going to be done, because that keeps people from coming here. I often say to people, if you want the service of a Tampa, you're going to need to be like Tampa. So you need about 2 million more people here. I don't think that's what the community wants. And so you have to understand that it's all related to the economics that drive all these things.
Passengers like Chuck and Lee understand it, and that's why they plan to use SRQ as much as they can.
It's just so easy.
At the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport, Ray Collins, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.